Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Mark Goes Hiking. Tonight I'm going to be testing the limits of some of my sleeping gear. Let's go ahead and get to camp. We'll get set up and I'll show you what I'm doing. So here's the deal. It's going to get down to 26 degrees tonight where I am. It's in the low 40s right now, but I am testing the limits of my underquilt and my top quilt. As in, I'm going beyond the limits. So for my underquilt, so I'm going to be sleeping in this bridge hammock. I've done a review on that. It's the ENO Skylight, I think it's called. And I also have the Warbonnet Ridge Runner. They're both great options. I chose to go with the ENO tonight, but I am using a Warbonnet underquilt. This is rated to 30 degrees. Now it fits this very well. I have to do one little modification. I need some shock cord on two of the corners because it's not quite, this isn't quite long enough for this ridge or for this bridge hammock. But anyway, 30 degree bottom out on this one. So 26 is the low tonight. So we'll see how I do down below. And then for my top quilt, I'm being really stupid and I'm gonna use the Aegismax. Now, I have taken the Aegismax down to the mid 30s and I've been fine. So going down to 26 is probably a bit extreme. And the temperature rating on this is 40 degrees. So I'm taking it about 9 degrees lower than I ever have before, and I'm a little worried about that. I will be sleeping with some Z-Packs down booties, and I'm going to be sleeping with my puffy coat on, which is just a 650 fill puffy coat from Costco, and just my pants. These are just a pair of Duluth Trading Company pants. Probably keep the sweatshirt on, which is super old and super thin. So I'm not doing a whole bunch to my body to keep me warm, other than the puffy coat and the Z-Packs booties. The drink for tonight is in this flask. It is Glenmorangie Quinto Ruban, which is delightful. It's a Scotch for those who don't know. And it is, I forget the year, I want to say a 12-year Scotch. I could be wrong. Could be 10, but I think it's 12. And the last 2 years, it is finished off in a port cask. Oh, the aroma is just out of this world. It is so good. It's my favorite Scotch. So if you ever want to give me a gift, I would love a bottle of Glenmorangie Quinto Ruban. I just got in my hammock 5 minutes ago or so, got situated and settled. So what am I thinking right now? I am thinking, I think I'm going to be cold tonight. Well, it's 7:30. It is 26 degrees. I woke up, actually throughout the night and waking up, I'm chilly. Once I get up and get moving and warm up a bit more, I would say I'm not cold, but I'm very chilly. Anyway, we'll walk through it once we get up and I get some coffee and some breakfast. And I definitely have some thoughts, and I think I know maybe what failed other than the temperature rating. I have a few thoughts on that. So we'll be back in a minute to walk through all of that. Well, last night I slept reasonably comfortable until the last couple hours of the night, and that's where it really dropped down to 26 degrees. It was right around freezing when I went to bed, and then it's kind of slowly dropped down throughout the night from 34 down to 26 at about 5:36 a.m. And that's when I started to get good and chilly, but my toes got cold. And a couple lessons, a couple takeaways. One, I think the Aegismax performed very well. It does not give you as much cover. It's not as big as an Enlightened Equipment quilt or a UGQ quilt. But I actually think the Aegismax held up. Now, I added too many variables to this test, which was kind of stupid. I think I had 3 variables. I had an underquilt that pushed its rating. I had a top quilt, and I pushed that rating. And I used an underquilt for a hammock that it was not made for. I think that I said that right. Too many variables. And I think that's why I went wrong. Aegismax, I think, performed absolutely fine. Really impressed that I stayed as warm as I did. I think why I got cold was my underquilt is made for a Warbonnet Ridge Runner. It's a Warbonnet underquilt. I have it slightly adapted to fit my ENO Bridge Hammock. It doesn't fit it perfectly. So my toes got cold this morning, and here's why. Throughout the night, just as I kind of move around, even when my feet are up a little bit higher in a bridge hammock, I still will kind of slide down to my feet. It's just kind of how I move in the night. And the last 6 to 8 inches of my bridge hammock, there's no underquilt under there when I crawled out this morning. So I think I adjusted my underquilt to the head too far rather than airing to the feet. And so I would wake up and I could feel that my feet were pressed up against the back wall of my bridge hammock, and my toes were getting cold. Even though I had the Vasque booties on, I still had the top quilt around my feet. But when you compress down, it becomes somewhat worthless. And I think that's what happened last night. So I don't even think the underquilt itself failed. The Aegismax kept me pretty warm. I really do think so. I think what happened was I used gear that wasn't made for other pieces of gear. I like to do that. I like to make things cross-functional. I should not have done that for this test. That added a variable that was unfair to the gear. So cool test. Cool test. It's fun to push gear to the limits and see what they can do. I had a fire, I ate breakfast, I warmed back up, so I'm going to tear down, and I think I'm going to head home here soon. Thanks for viewing, guys. If you haven't already, if you've made it this far in the video, please like, sub, all that junk, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care, everyone.
I'm happy when I'm hiking, back upon my back. I'm happy